Greetings, welcome, and thanks for tuning in. It's Christian of Standing Stones Healing, and this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast talks all about finding time for your Reiki business. And let's be real, one of the challenges to finding time for our Reiki business can indeed be social media. Now, I know that you use social media because you're here right now, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the things, right? And the truth is that all the things can take up all of our time if we let it. You know, social media is something that will take as much as you give it. And so, as much as you give to social media, it will take for sure. And this is especially important to be mindful of as a Reiki business owner. You know, being a Reiki business owner is a busy kind of thing. And it takes time to build a Reiki business. And time that we spend on social media really can take away from building our Reiki business. Even when you are using social media as a way to build community and to build your Reiki business, we all know that social media can indeed be a real drain on our time. And so what do we do? Well, I talk about one of my tips in this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. You can tune in at standingstoneshealing.com/podcast. I've got the link below. And this is a technique that I call Power Hour. Now, I was actually just talking about a Reiki business coaching client a couple of weeks ago about Power Hour and how impactful and effective I have personally found it to be of service in my Reiki business. And Power Hour is when you have your tasks that you want to complete on social media. Maybe it is posting a particular post. Maybe it is monitoring your group, letting in new members, approving members, scheduling posts in your group, whatever it might be. You've got a plan for the time that you want to be using your social media use, and you implement that plan in the space of 1 hour. So Power Hour is when you limit yourself to 1 hour on Facebook to say, or social media, Instagram, whatever it might be, and to say, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I've got an hour to do it, and boom, you plug in and you get it done, plow through in that hour. When you set a time limit for yourself for your social media use, you are going to use that time much more effectively. Because what happens? You go on social media, maybe you're on Facebook, and you say, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm just going to spend a couple minutes, I'm going to answer comments in my group, I'm going to create a couple of posts, and then what happens? You get in there and you start scrolling and you see something interesting that your friend is doing, and oh, you've got a comment on that, and then oh, you wonder, how's this friend doing, and you go check in on that, and oh, what's happening in this group, and you go check in on that group, and before you know it, an hour is gone, and you ain't feeling very powerful at the end of it. This, if it happens to you, is so very common. It happens to everyone. And as a matter of fact, this is actually what social media platforms want you to do. They want you to go on the platform and to do exactly that, to lose time and to look up an hour later and say, whoa, where did the time go? How have I been on this for an hour? That's exactly what social media wants, and it is designed to do that. A lot of time and effort has gone into designing these platforms in order to hold your attention, in order to make you scroll, in order to keep you there. And so know that when that happens, it's not your fault. It's by design, and it's by careful design that has been backed by a lot of research, a lot of effort, and a lot of money too. And so know that you're not alone in this, but indeed there are things that we can do to avoid the scrolling, to avoid the meandering online on social media, and to use our time effectively. And yes, one of those techniques that I use is Power Hour. And so I will give myself 1 hour to get in and do all of the things that I need to do on social media, to approve members for my group, to comment on posts, to create posts. And so Power Hour allows me to get things done without using that time in a very meandering kind of way. And so I do recommend using Power Hour. And if you're like, wow, Power Hour, that's a lot of time. Well, as your Reiki business grows and changes, you may find yourself doing more online. You may find yourself doing less online, depending upon your Reiki business and your Reiki business model. But you can shrink or expand that time as you need to, but going in with that very focused amount of time allows you to be focused as well, to help you avoid distractions. Now, I'm going to say that, hey, if you happen to meander on my page, if you happen to scroll in my groups, no problem. That's great. Keep doing that. Of course, I'm kidding, but indeed, it's important for us to be very mindful of the ways in which we use social media, especially as a Reiki business owner, because it can actually detract from real work that we want to be doing in our Reiki business. And I know that you know exactly what I mean, because you're scrolling, you're looking, you're seeing what comes up, the notifications, what looks interesting, and after half an hour, even an hour, you're like, wait a minute, I haven't even yet posted in my group. I haven't even yet created that video that I was going to create. I haven't done any of those things yet. And again, if this is you, you're not alone, and it is indeed by design of the social media platforms. So when we go into using social media in a very specific and focused way, it can help us to eliminate those distractions and to help us stay on task with our social media use. As a Reiki business owner, it's very important for us to use social media rather than to be used by social media. And social media platforms want to, in effect, use you to keep you on the platform as long as possible. And so I encourage making sure that we are using social media, that we are focused in how we're using it, that we are purposeful in how we're using it, rather than allowing it to use us. Now, I talk a lot about this in the Build Your Reiki Business program because it is that important. Because your use of social media as a business owner can either advance your business and help your business, or hinder your business. And so in the Build Your Reiki Business program, I talk a lot about managing social media use. I talk about Power Hour and that tip for managing it. And I talk about other things as well to help you manage your social media use as a Reiki business owner, to make sure that you are using the social media to advance your Reiki business rather than it using you and making you look up from your computer or phone screen in an hour and saying, whoa, where did the time go? Now, before I go, I want to provide you with one more tip for using social media for your Reiki business. Well, I should say managing your use of social media for your Reiki business. Another thing that I personally do is that I do not use social media on my phone. Now, this is often a surprise whenever I talk to my Reiki business coaching clients about this. Whenever I mention it to people, it actually really surprises them. I do not use social media on my phone. As a matter of fact, I'm very careful about my phone use. My phone is not with me right now. It's over in another room. It is on silent. I always have my phone on silent. And so I don't hear when I get a text or a phone call. And that is on purpose and by design. But I also do not use social media on my phone. And so when I want to, do something on social media, when I want to go live on Facebook, when I want to upload a video to YouTube, when I want to check comments or notifications, I've got to crack open my computer and I've got to do it on my computer. And I do this very purposefully in order to be much more mindful about the ways in which I use social media, to be much more present about my use, and to keep it confined so that it is not spilling out into all aspects of my life. Because, let's face it, our phone is typically where we are and typically is on wherever we are. And so when our phone is always with us and always on, it's so much easier to just see what's happening on social media. And there we have it. We can jump right into that big rabbit hole of scrolling, meandering, looking up and, oh, where did the time go? And so I personally do not use social media on my phone. Now, I will say that this makes some things in my Reiki business a little harder. Things like uploading YouTube shorts, a little bit harder. Things like going live on Instagram, whole lot harder. But I'm okay with that because I've made that choice, and that is something that is important to me. And it's something that helps me stay grounded and present in my social media use. Now, I will say I have one exception to this, and that is YouTube. And so I will indeed watch YouTube videos on my phone and comment on YouTube videos on my phone. Otherwise, I'm not using social media for any other purpose. This is because I'm often listening to YouTube videos while I'm doing chores around the house. And so I like to be able to listen while I am doing things like cooking breakfast, cleaning, or other tasks around the house. And so, no matter how you're using social media, I really encourage you to consider it, especially as a Reiki business owner, and especially if you are considering becoming a Reiki business owner. Your use of social media is going to need to change. And you're going to need to take more power over your use of social media as a Reiki business owner. So I'm sending lots of blessings and best wishes to your social media use. I also want to encourage you, coming up on October 6th, there is a free Is It Time to Start Your Reiki Business workshop. So on October 6th, I'm offering a free workshop on how to know if it's time to start your Reiki business. You can learn more and register at standingstoneshealing.com/Reiki Biz Kit. I'll put the link down below. But if you cannot join us live on October 6th, yes, all registrants do indeed get the recording. So if you can't join live, register for the replay. You will indeed get it. standingstoneshealing.com/Reiki Biz Kit. This workshop is one of 3 free workshops that I am offering coming up in the near future. That first one is October the 6th. I hope that you can join us, or at least join us on the replay. And I'm sending so many blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business and your use of social media, which, by the way, I talk a lot about in the Build Your Reiki Business program. You can learn more at standingstoneshealing.com/build and start building your Reiki business right now. Sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business and to your social media use.